That's right, Group B is on the way in just a few moments' time here to find out another 3 players that are going to be moving through into the bracket. And welcome back to the analysis desk here, guys. We're just going to do a little bit of, some caretaking because we have just concluded Group A. Which means that what we want to do now is show you the final moments of what happened in that final series to determine who got first and second spot. So, Pig, without further ado, take us through some of those final moments there in Ryung's match.
All right, let's dive straight on into game. And we can see here the final match of Snoot versus Ryung. He got a lot of Swarmos out after defending some relentless Hellion harass in the early game. And this was a very decisive engagement from Snoot, which pretty much sealed the deal. The Corrosive Bile, the Locusts, just wiping out the entire mech force, and from there it was a rather simple matter for Snoot to just keep throwing waves of Locusts at Ryung until he did crumble.
Very nicely done there by Snoot to take that win towards the very end, Pig.
Very important match as well, because that does, of course, push Byun into first place in the group, which means he takes that first seed.
Yeah. Thank you very much, man. We can actually take a look as well at that full group graphic to determine and confirm with everybody out there who has taken number 1, number 2, and number 3. So there you have it. Byun successfully grabbing himself that number 1 spot with Ryung, who was leading the pack for quite a while, taking number 2, and Solar will take number 3. Any surprises coming out of Group A for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Hero not making it through is a little bit surprising, I think. He's been playing so well recently. Another kind of surprising thing is Snoot ends up like 1-4, but like that first game against Byun made it look like Snoot might be the best player in the group, and then he takes out Ryung to make sure that Ryung does not get the easy seed in the round of 8. So like, Snoot was like borderline winning the group, you know what I mean? Even though he got last place, like his matches were so close, so kind of disappointing for him there.
A very close group pick overall.
And really impressive performance from Hero Marine. I mean, he was 1 game away from progressing there against Hero. I mean, Hero Marine is just such a story. None of us really expected him to even make it through the local, the LAN qualifier. Yeah. He makes it here. He's so close to making it out. Actually ends up ahead of Hero in the score, so a big surprise.
Yeah, a commendable result for sure, even though not actually getting on through. Now, guys, let's turn our attention as we are reaching now the halfway point of today. It's going to be Group B. The names we have here: Neeb, TY, Alive, Stats, Harstem, and Jakji to round things out in terms of our Terrans and our Protosses. Now, where do we even begin? Our first match is actually TY versus Stats, so we'll get onto that in just a little moment here. But who are the standout players for you? We already heard from Tasteless just then, but how about yourselves?
TY, man. TY is like the smartest player in the world, I think. It'd be hard for anyone to argue that. He is a threat to win every single tournament, even though he hasn't won himself a ton of tournaments. He did take down WESG, and
and suddenly became one of the highest earners of all time.
And the thing is, like, all of his matchups, like, he doesn't have a weak matchup. He's like one of the very best against every single race. He's so smart. He's such a great pro gamer. So for me, this is such a story about him.
Yeah.
And coming in after that, I mean, I feel like everyone else is fighting for 2nd and 3rd place.
How about yourself, Pig? What do you think?
You know, TY is such a solid guy. I think sort of on par with him is Stats. For me, there's something about Stats' attitude as well, which especially speaks to me, because right now in recent form, the way the PvT matchup is going, which is what a lot of this group is focused around, I was kind of thinking TY is probably the favorite, but then there was just something about Stats that said, looking at this lineup, oh man, he looks really great. And Neeb is a big question mark for me as well. So he's the other player I've got a close eye on, saying, can Neeb make it out maybe in 2nd or 3rd place? How solid is he doing in the PvP and PvT matchup?
So Artosis picked TY, you picked Stats, and that leads us nicely on to our first match, TY versus Stats. So
a big boss battle to kick
I guess
things
we can
off,
solve this right away, Pig, can't we? Our little dispute.
Yeah, we can arm wrestle. We'll be fine.
So what do we think? TY, obviously, Artosis, you were saying, like, he just doesn't have weak matchups across the board. What's he going to bring to Stats here to actually try and topple this Protoss god?
Well, he kind of wins through strategy and tactics more than anything else. Yeah, he has great macro. Yeah, he has great micro. But I don't think he'll do things that just completely wow us in those regards. I think he's just going to play a really smart game. He won't attack when he shouldn't. He'll defend when he should, and he's going to end up taking it because of that.
Pick some final thoughts before we actually go over to the casters on this matchup, TY versus Stats.
I think Stats, he's had a lot of troubles in PvT against one guy, Innovation. I think TY, he can have a little bit more confidence to play a mixture of macro games as well as his crazy Phoenix Adept plays and his all-ins, which he's been, desperately throwing out against Inno.
Right.
So I think Stats here, as long as he has a bit of faith to throw in some macro plays and not just go all-in or very mid-game focused every game, I think Stats has a really good chance of taking it.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. But at the moment, of course, we'll be getting into TY versus Stats. We're going to have Neeb and Harsteman alive, and Jack G going to be playing here up on the desk. So we'll keep you informed about that. For now, though, we're going to head over to the caster desk for TY versus Stats.
Thank you very much, guys. Looking forward to this one. A big matchup here between these two to get our, I guess, this Group B started here at the Intel Extreme Masters. What are you expecting out of this one, Roddy? You're quite good with predictions, aren't you?
Yeah, every now and then. Yeah, the start of the day was a little rocky, but the previous few days I was on fire, so it's all good. Nobody was awake yet anyway. I am predicting a TY victory. I really do still think that TY has excellent understanding. I didn't even know we were still on screen. That's crazy. I was like, all right, let's lean back, let's bring out the belly. It's like, oh God, we're still on camera. No, I love the way that TY plays his matchup in general. They recently went up against each other as well. TY won that one. I think it's going to be a close series though, Todd, but I think TY is going to take a very big and important first step here of advancing to the round of 12.
Starting in the bottom left-hand side of the map, playing as the red Protoss. We're 1 minute 30. 30 seconds in, it's Stats! Slowest intros ever.
I do love Stats as well though. He's absolutely my favorite Protoss player out there at the moment. He's been so fun and followed to watch lately. But this man is spawning in the right bottom side. In January alone, Todd, he won over $200,000 playing StarCraft. It's TY. You could say January was a pretty alright month for him, right?
Yeah, sure. TY qualified through the server qualifiers on the American server. He beat True Protosses actually there. Deer was one of them, and his ex-teammate Zest as well. Quite impressive. But not as impressive as Reverse.
All killing in
Reverse, yeah. Not even sure what's the right term there, but basically coming back in the best of 5 series from 0-2 to 3-2 up against Innovation in the GSL quarterfinals did Stats. Like, I mean, after you do that, you can beat any Terran that you want, no matter what the situation is in a game like this.
Stargate slightly after Warp Gate. Every now and then you see the European Protosses go super crazy where they go Stargate before Warp Gate. That's not going to be the case. I'm expecting something kind of similar from Stats to what we saw out of Hero, but I'm expecting cleaner play, I'm expecting cleaner execution. As much as I love Root Hero, former CJ Hero of course, I don't think he played flawless today, Todd. He made a lot of mistakes. TY actually opening up with 2 Hellions over here. That could work out very well if the Adept is out of position. I personally hate going up against these Hellion openings, because often as a Protoss you're kind of greedy early on, right? You have like 1 or 2 units. I like Stalkers as well. Stalkers are terrible against Hellions. Adepts are quite a bit better, because Hellions are obviously light armored units. Stats is going to go up to 3 bases, 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. If Avilo is watching this, he's tuning out.
No, he's winning in the chat. And hoping Protoss wins so we can win. It's very TY-esque actually to do this. We've seen him in the past try crazy stuff, like a lot of Cyclones, taking this kind of very quick third base play, which didn't necessarily work back then. So we'll see if he actually goes for something special so far.
Go for the main. There isn't much in the main. He's going to have to use the Oracle at home. I mean, obviously this is nice for Stats that he doesn't take any economic damage, but at the same time you kind of want to activate the beam on the other side of the map. Forgot the name of it. Corsair?
It was
Pulsar beam, right?
Yeah. Oracle chasing a Hellion. Fast and Furious 13 preview right there. Gonna go for some probes there. He actually gets none. Ooh, he almost shaded out here of this, but cancelled that second.
Well,
worth it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that actually could be very hard. Now he doesn't have the lift available either. That was not worth it at all, Todd. He can't lift the Widow Mines and he has no detection and he has no energy either. This is bad. Bad start for no. Not worth it at all. This is good job as well by TY. He's just being so annoying. He's going to burrow and unburrow. He doesn't want to settle for one. That's a tiny bit sloppy.
Yeah, surprised he didn't reburrow that immediately. Oracle's now coming back. He's got 45 energy. Almost enough here for Revelation, which should be on time to prevent another detonation on this probe.
But he has nothing to kill it. That's actually... No energy.
He has no energy, but it... Oh, there's the third one about to come out. Hurry up!
Okay. Stats' heart was definitely beating a little fast there. Okay, he's on 42 workers against the 38 from TY. Now, when it comes to TY, his TVP in case you guys are new to StarCraft, you know what makes him so special, what makes him so good in this matchup. More Widowmine harass, by the way. Well, this is one of the reasons. Oh, no split, it's gonna hurt. 7 workers go down, a few more gets gunned down as well by these Marines. Things are looking rough for Stats. He played greedy and thought, believe it or not, but he got punished for it.
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time, but TY with quite a few walker snipes here and there are going to be able to chase down Medivac. The Widowmine still is his natural, though, I believe.
Oh my god.
Really defending against. And TY has really set up a good pace here with his drops. He's going to keep on going like that, keep on massing an army back.
Don't do that!
Oh! What is going on here?
That could have been worse, but it was still really bad, really painful. I don't know what else to come.
Absolute fireworks.
Yes.
TY is like, you better not open Phoenix. Just keep a robo against me because I'm going to punish you for it. And Stats must not be happy with the way this has gone so far. 46 SCVs to 39 probes.
And he's about to lose like 9 more. Or at least he's starting to split a little, but... Ah, he took care of that one. Okay, that's not going to be that bad. Only ends up losing.
Feels bad, man.
He has plenty of Phoenixes at least.
He has so much power, but there's nothing he can do. All these Phoenixes.
He has still no detection, still no robo.
Why is he not getting cannons?
Because he, I don't know. He's kind of broke. That's the only thing I can say, Todd. He's a little broke.
Okay, he gets both mines at least with one revelation there. Finally, this has been the mines.
But I mean, where I was going before, what makes TY so incredibly good in this matchup, it's not his crazy multitasking, even though obviously he's fast. It's not his crazy micro, even though obviously he has good micro. It's just his understanding of when he's supposed to push and how to execute his pushes. His builds are excellent. He hits some moments where it's very hard for Protoss to defend. It just straight up battles, right? It comes down to Widowmines, it comes down to Liberators, it comes down to tanks. He's incredibly good. Probably world's best when it comes to positioning and sieging up those units.
A few Stasis Tribes actually would be very good, I think, here for Stats. It could buy him some time if TY chooses to march across the map with his massive army, try and do some damage before there is enough for Stats to be able to hold on, because TY stayed on 2 bases for a long time. Does scan the 3rd base, sees the saturation and a couple of units there. That Widowmine drop, man.
It's probably gonna hurt again. Maybe this probe can give a signal.
This is why I get cannons every time.
Yeah, but then you have no army.
So what? At least I don't lose my probes.
Pylons are out of position as well. Maybe this probe. Wow, did TY just see it?
He might have. I might be anticipating that there could be something there, because usually even if there isn't a probe or nexus, there might be a pylon.
He's using the army as well to siege up over here. One Oracle gets picked off immediately, so that Widowmine drop in the natural is really going to hurt. Stats' army is just not impressive at all.
Spotted the Medivac, but that means that his third nexus is going to be super exposed. Picks up the Widowmines on the left-hand side, but his army is getting crushed. There wasn't enough pylons to use all the overcharges together, and that's going to be the 3rd base falling. And Roddy, look at the supply.
Game number 1 has pretty much been all TY. Even though these Phoenixes do have a lot of energy and they can start lifting up a couple of these Marines, the Adepts will show up as well. So this is like, it's not all that bad for Stats. No, trust me guys, it's incredibly bad for Stats because the reinforcements are on the way. Rip the landed Viking. Always makes me a little sad when the landed Viking dies, Todd.
Big revelation though, getting these Widowmines, but Stats still basically lost his entire army other than those Phoenixes that don't even have shields anymore here, so...
Yep, too much firepower in this Terran army, and from this point on it's going to be a parade push. There's too many reinforcements, more mines are coming in as well. Photon overcharge will maybe keep these Adepts safe for a little bit, but this Nexus is super dead, and the rest of this Protoss army is just not looking all that impressive, Todd.
Yeah, a ton of pylons on the way here for Stats. Not even sure why, he didn't need to make that many just now. He's going to try to expand elsewhere here on the left-hand side, but TY just has so much, in particular on the Marine count here, which is huge.
No energy anymore on the Phoenixes either, makes it really hard to be incredibly effective with them. The Marauders doing a good job in soaking up a couple of these shots, and I believe that this is going to be the end with a few extra Marines running in. TY having a ball, TY playing an excellent game number 1, really punishing the greed of Stats. Some people say you can't do anything about 3 bases. TY is like, well, I can start dropping Widowmines everywhere. Let's see how that goes for me. Excellent game by him.
I know who you were mimicking here. I got a miss. I see what you did there.
I didn't mimic anybody.
Great performance from TY, and he looked really solid against this style. Now, sure, Stats made a couple mistakes, but I have to say the rhythm that TY had in this game was actually insane.
And the routes that he took with his Metavacs, I think that's very important. If you fly the obvious routes, then obviously there's a chance you fly into the Phoenix, everything gets intercepted, you do no damage, and then suddenly this Protoss economy truly snowballs out of control. But TY was relentless, TY was very smart, and Stats is like, whew, should probably not try that again, you know, playing without detection against this man. Sometimes with a single Oracle you can kind of dodge the bullet, tag the army, but, you know, against multiple Metavacs with mines like this, it's going to be a very tough story. So game number 1 for Stats. Let's check in with Kalaras and the boys to see if there's something going on in some of the other matches in Group B.
Stats looking like he had a little bit of a hard time there, but for now we do have some updates coming from you at the desk. Laptop 1, well, technically we're not jumping in, but Artosis, you had game number 1 between Neva and Harstem.
Yeah, it was on Abyssal Reef, and they both opened up with like 4 stalkers, so there was no real scouting going on with the depths or anything like that, and took their nexuses, and then it diverged. Harstem went for 1 Stargate Phoenix and just sat them in his main base while he built up to 5. And Neeb went for a really fast Disruptor drop. And obviously Phoenixes counter that pretty hard, but in came the Disruptor drop. The Phoenixes were still sitting in the main base. 2 Stalkers, 3 probes, get killed with the first shot. Phoenixes go to find it. Neeb has tucked it down a little bit. He doesn't know there's Phoenixes still. Phoenixes fly right over it. It flies the main base. 5 more probes killed. It's like, oh my god, build order advantage to Harstem big time. Takes that much damage. Yeah. But then Harstem went into lots of Void Rays, like a air toss plus Disruptor tech. And Neeb just kind of barreled him over. He had a lot of Blink Stalkers, a lot of Archons, and really kind of hit the one timing where he was going to be able to do something like that.
All right, well, thank you very much for the update. That continues on with Neeb currently 1-0 up at the moment. Let's check in with Pig now, who currently has Alive versus Jackji, which has got a few minutes in now.
Yeah, we actually had a pretty funny start to this match, so we'll dive straight on in here. There isn't too much to show at this moment, except that both players opened up with a very standard Reaper expand, and funnily enough, they both went across the map with the Reaper plus SCV combo harass.
Right.
And they dodged each other, and they both ran into each other's base when there was nothing else there, and each of them killed 5 workers.
Oh my god,
it was
that's
actually
so funny.
Really hilarious just to watch them both like, oh, I've got nothing at home. I better micro this Reaper really well. And now it's actually stabilized, kind of, but Jackji, not as quick to rebuild his SCVs, and you can see he just hit a big supply block there. This Widow Mine just did a little bit of damage, so Jackji is trailing in the SCVs, but still a very close TvT.
All right, well, thank you very much for the update, boys, otherwise. What we had here with TY going up against Stats, TY just seemed to have mastery and control over some of the aggressive tendencies there against Stats. So Stats going to have to really kind of buckle down, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, Stats is one of the very best Protoss in the world, and he's getting a lot of hype right now because of that. Some Protosses are underperforming as opposed to what we would expect out of them, like Zest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, TY is just, he's too smart, he's too good. A lot of the losses that you see in Terran versus Protosses right now are because people are human, they make mistakes.
Right.
TY less so, okay? Like,
yeah.
Even Innovation, he'll make some decisions that are wrong. Maybe he'll have a few more units than TY, but TY is not going to get out of position. He's going to punish you every time. He knows the counter to everything.
All right, well, thanks very much, guys. We'll check in with you in just a little bit. For now, though, we're going to head back over to the commentary desk for our continuing of this series.
Thanks, guys. Great job as always. Looking forward to hearing more from these guys, but first we need to continue here with our mainstream series. Stats, I mean, build otherwise, I think it was okay to do what he was doing. It's just like, it feels almost like the first Widowmine drop that does some damage basically follows up with the next one and the next one and the next one. And that first pickup, actually, you know, I joked that it was worth.
Yeah.
Because
that was a disaster.
it was sarcasm, right? Like a lot of the time it's not worth to pick up a unit like this that was pretty much gonna die anyway. It was really bad.
Yep.
This is almost like you picked up one unit too much in the start of the game, you lose.
It's almost like TY wanted it as well. He's like, hey man, here's my Reaper. You want to lift it with that Phoenix of yours, and then you do it, and then you have no answer anymore against the Widow Mines. It was an awesome game by TY, kind of what we expect from him, like Artosa said. He just doesn't really make a whole lot of mistakes. You know, Johan, what I also really love is just hearing those updates from those other games, because in the past, sometimes I'm sad when I go to an event. Obviously, casting is always fun, but it's like, man, I kind of wish I was sitting at home with my double monitor setup so I could watch multiple games. Now I truly feel like I'm getting informed about what's going on in the other games. I love it, though.
You're getting Artosis on one monitor, covering all the games. That's how it goes. All right, we're on Belcher Vestige here, and starting in the top left-hand side of the map. He needs to come back here in the series. He's down 0-1. It's, of course, Splice's stats.
I really like that yellow from Splice. It looks good.
Is that a logo?
Yeah, it looks very cool in-game there as well. Over here on the right bottom side of the map, looking at the man who has won WESG. It earned him $200,000. It's TY. He's been a pro gamer for incredibly long, but he was waiting for that big victory. Often got very far. King of top 4. Kind of like stats, actually. This used to be the battle of the guys that were always the king of top 4. And then obviously TY decided to break that curse at a pretty sweet moment, which earned him 200 Gs.
Going for a command center first here. Used to be nicknamed Baby, but then eventually changed that.
You can't always be a baby, Todd.
I think his real name is something like Taeyong or something, so that's TY basically. I don't know, yeah, you can, but I mean, if you look at MMA, Uriah Faber is nicknamed the California Kid and he's 40 years old, so he's a little bit out of place.
When you said MMA, I was like, oh, I wonder what you're going to talk about MMA for. I was like, is he back yet, Todd? Are you hyping an MMA return over here?
No.
There's only one MMA that I know, Todd. And he made it to the final of BlizzCon. And he won a GSL.
The best MMA. Alright, Stas going for a scout. He's going to fully realize that there is a quick third base, and that's probably going to make him take a very quick third himself. Usually that's the standard reaction, unless he wants to be aggressive, but it's very hard to actually do anything much here.
I'd like to see a disrupted drop against this. I still believe that a disrupted drop is a pretty sweet opening against CC first. Obviously, it's a tiny bit risky.
Target.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't say he was going to do it because I know that Stats is not really your guy to go for a disrupted drop, right? But if this was Neep or if this was, you know, some of those other Protoses, I generally believe they feel quite confident opening up with a disrupted drop against CC first, especially when it's 3 Rex.
Yeah, because he knows there's not going to be Widow Mines dropped into his middle line, killing 30 probes early on in the game.
Exactly, but obviously with the CC first, TY is going to have a great economy and he's going to have access to a lot of Marines. It's funny, right? Because there is this window where you can be greedy against CC first, but then at a certain point, you shouldn't be too greedy because then the Marine count is going to be very high.
It's very short, you have to get it perfectly right.
So if you want to be greedy, you have to be greedy now and then hope you survive that very first big push. And I think that Stats is, again, this is crazy to me. I mean, I guess this is a whole new meta. Like, again, this super fast 3 base. You really can go up to 3 bases faster than this as a Protoss against Terran.
Yeah. Your build just has to be crisp. Basically, you start the 3rd Nexus and then you add more gates. Usually at least 2, which should be starting very soon. Then you will go into Twilight and Robo. Maybe Forge as well. Yeah, here they are.
Hey, he has such few units. Doesn't have a Mothership Core yet, right? These guys, they're crazy.
Yeah, actually, that's exceptionally greedy.
3
It
bases.
reminds me of Bomber, by the way, like moving out with these few units.
There's a Marauder in the mix as well. The Marauder is actually quite nice. What's next? We're going to see concussive shells. We're going to go full Wings of Liberty over here. I wonder if Stats can keep that base alive. I guess with 2 Oracles you always can. Does TY have enough Marines at home though to defend against his Oracle? That's the big question. The Oracle flies in, picks up 2 SCVs immediately.
Oh, did he not spot the 3rd base? Because he has a Marine almost there. Actually, that's going to do quite a bit of damage, and that's also taking his attention away from his main army out on the map. He's going to go for the 3rd Nexus, but that's almost finished.
He did bait out the Photon Overcharge. Meanwhile, the Oracle is just wrecking havoc on the other side of the map, but these Adepts are going to take a lot of damage. 2 Adepts and a Mothership Core is not going to be enough, but the Oracle is about to show up, maybe with the Oracle, but I think TY is probably going to gun the Oracle down immediately because he's aware of the DPS that this Oracle has. Sick micro on both sides. Oracle will fall. Well, pretty sick by TY. But
yeah, by Stats too. He could have maybe pulled back the Oracle at the last second, but he cleans up all of the Marines, and that's going to be that Mothership Core cleaning up this last Marauder here as well. Escapes across the map with the Oracle in the meantime.
So even though the trades and the work accounts, like, it looks all right for stats, the only thing that's not good, wow, that's actually a very fast RTC. Didn't even see that go down. The bad thing about all of this for the Protoss is that the transitions are going to be very late, right? Like, what's it going to be? Phoenix Adept? He needs big numbers of that. And just now, Resonating Glaives on the way, while Stim is already done. I'm not sure, Todd. Ouch.
Alright, this Oracle had reached his life expectancy.
You know,
Nice setup by TY.
you guys know
he was gonna come back.
You guys at home know when you're watching Protoss casters compared to like Terran or Zerg casters, because most people will be like, the Oracle goes down! And when it's two Protoss players watching this, it's like,
Crickets.
we've been there. A moment of silence for this Oracle. Because it's just sad. You see, the moment you see
Press
that little...
1 to pay respect.
Yeah, exactly. The moment you see that little line of death, you know you've done goofed. You're like, uh-oh, I went too far. And that hurts for stats, because that's his detection. We do see Le Explosion de Gate. How's the pronunciation, though?
Not bad, actually,
Alright.
for once. First time ever.
5 gates going down, but TY's push, once TY's push is going to come, it's going to be a very scary one. That is going to be a powerful one. Once again, it's going to come down to execution, but he's normally so damn good in this phase in the game.
Stats setting a robo. I was wondering what he was going to plan for detection after last game went so bad early on, especially since he lost his oracles. But he needs to be in position on third base. That probe's going to allow him to get there on time here, I think.
Already he's burrowing these mines a little bit. Very well done. Has to be careful with his Marines. TY doesn't have that many Marines here. Now Resonating Glaives is done as well. But TY is very smart. He can always pick up these Marines. He knows that. He can also go for a couple of Marines. He's going to just pick it up.
Pick up and let the Widow Mine detonate. Boom!
Oh, pretty juicy hit. And there's another one.
Observer on the way, though. It's about to come out.
Yeah.
And then he will rejoin this army, clean this up. The positioning of the Forge and the Twilight Council makes me a little bit nervous.
The Phoenixes are intercepting these two medevacs. Well done. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the kill, but still is going to put on a lot of pressure. There's no bunk here, but there are Widow Mines, and you got to respect the mines as the Observer is not here yet. Stats is just going to split up a couple of adepts. I'm not sure if Stats has enough here, but he's definitely getting some decent trades at least.
Yeah, if he can trade, I think it would be good enough for him, but you don't want to be the least cost-effective possible, so you might have to go back right now, still doing all right. Snipe 6 SCVs here on this base.
I'm not sure if that's enough, though. He's losing a lot of adepts. He's actually going to lose all of them as he cancelled the Shades. A couple of Phoenixes went down as well. If you take a look at the units lost resource tab, there's no way that was good. As he already lost almost 1100 gas. That's painful, Todd.
Yeah, those are hard to replace, even though it's boosting them one at a time. And we see a War Prism come out. When you play for this style, it's very encouraging to actually go for an attack with a ton of adepts and try to snowball rather than play the later stages of the game. You know, take to Colossus, get a second Forge. That's very, very uncommon to play with this.
You know what I really feel? I feel like Phoenix Adept, right? It's an incredibly strong composition until you reach a certain level of Terran. And I feel that these guys are so incredibly good in picking it apart with the Widowmine positioning, with missile turrets, with hot pickups in the medevacs as well, and later on setting up these Liberators. That's a lot of adepts though, and obviously this Natural is a little bit exposed. Does TY have enough, as most of the mines are out of position? Just when I said it, I think TY was in a good position. He's gonna lose a whole bunch of SCVs, Todd.
It's actually in a shade. Whoa, okay.
If there's two mines there, you know, that would have been a disaster.
Then we will be screaming G Fuel.
And the army's starting to look a little bit small. Mines getting picked up there as well. Good job by Stats. That was super clutch. And
wow.
Just like that, Stats will win the game on Belshir Vestige. Wow. He looked at his dirt base and he's like, all right, there's a Liberator there, there's a bunch of mines, missile turrets, things are starting to get a little dicey. I want no part of that. Let's take a look at your Natural. It's wide open. Awesome.
This is a clear downside of taking the third base from TY, is that he's just so far away from the Natural and getting that position covered properly. The good Protosses, they never step inside of liberation zones. No. They never step where there's going to be Liberators set up plus Widow Mine. So Stats went around and he's able to bring it back. Let's head to the desk where we can hear from the guys and maybe get some update on some of the other games.
Thank you very much, gents. 1-1 currently in yours. Nice to see. But here, meanwhile, we do have Pig still in a live versus Jakshi. Pig, what can you tell us about what's going on at the moment?
Jack G managed to take game number 1 versus Alive. We are in game number 2, and we could dive straight into that map right now. Jack G was actually in a pretty bad position before, but he just did a sick drop in the main, picked off 2 tanks, got out of there, and now has a nice little position on the natural where you can see in that work account down the bottom, Jack G's been way behind in workers for a while, just didn't get the better end of the early trade. So Jack G is slowly working his way back into this game, and it looks like he will start that eventual macro transition behind this, though. Nice little counter drop there from Alive. We'll slap that one down at least.
Yeah, gets himself that without even the cancel. Not too bad at all. Thank you very much, Pig, for that update. Next up, we do have Neeb versus Harstem at the moment. 1-1 Artosis.
Yeah, and we should jump right into this because right now Neeb is going for a counterattack. Harstem opened up with the Robo before Nexus to try to do an Immortal bust, but Neeb scouted it out with some Adepts, and I mean, he's been doing the counterplay perfectly, just making plenty of sentries and an Immortal and doing this counter now. And yeah, it's looking like Neeb might be able to clean up Harstem.
Yeah, he's in a very, very good spot there. So, well, we couldn't watch out this for the little bit of moment as he's going to just force field that back in.
That is a lot of damage right there. Very good force fields.
All right, well, that looks like it's going to be wrapping up pretty darn soon. Thank you very much, Artosis, as now I believe our players are indeed ready in our other series going on. So let's head over to the caster's desk.
Thanks very much, guys. 1-1. Looking forward to that third game. Any particular expectations after what we just saw? Those stats stick to the Adept Phoenix style that we just saw? Or was it really just because he faced Command Center first that you think he was able to do that well?
I definitely think that's his go-to style right now, kind of like his bread and butter. We saw it a little bit against Innovation as well. And we see it with many Protosses, you know, a lot of these Koreans, they just don't feel that comfortable sitting back, getting a Colossus out. They feel that some of these Terrans are too good with their pushes, too good with their multitasking. They like to get these games like, you know, messy, down and dirty. Let's go, Phoenix Adept, try to find openings. And he did find openings, but we also shouldn't forget that he did a lot of economic damage early on in that previous game, and that perhaps allowed him to lose a few more Adepts later on and just survive a little bit easier because TY had a few less units to work with. We'll see. Proxima is definitely a decent Stargate map, I'd say, and it's a very good medevac map, so I would almost be certain that this man spawning on the right top side of Proxima was, of course, Stats. Will play with a Stargate.
Guaranteed. His opponents in the south side, it is of course TY. Both players looking to try and secure a first win here in this Group B. Yeah. Pretty stacked group, man.
Yeah, very stacked group. One that's
insane.
Very hard to predict. Even Beyond said it as well, right? That the foreigners in this group are incredibly strong. I mean, obviously, Neep is our Gaspa Cup champion, and Neep is just incredibly good in so many ways.
Harstem played really good in the bracket earlier.
Yep.
Qualify.
No, Harstem is absolutely one of the best Protosses in Europe. Probably the second best, maybe third best. Obviously, the best Protoss in Europe is still Showtime. We'll see him in action tomorrow for all the German fans out there. You know, I'm also incredibly excited for, Todd?
Who?
Serral.
Yeah. A lot of hype around Serral going into these tournaments. Many have said he may be the best foreigner. Well, maybe on the ladder, but now he has to beat in the tournament, and it's gonna be hard when you have guys like Nurchio, Showtime.
He's gonna
always doing so well.
He's gonna proxy a factory, isn't he, his cheeky boy? You know which build is disgusting, by the way, on this map? Like the absolute grossest build. Reaper, fast expand, proxy starport, liberator range. But obviously Stargate is very popular, and especially for Stats, so maybe then it's not that good. But if Stats would somehow play without a Stargate, that is the grossest build you can imagine. We'll see what TY decides to do with this factory.
Quick window might drop, I think.
Yeah.
It comes super fast, and that's what he had success with in game number 1, so could be that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Could be something like Hellions as well.
Or maybe he just scouts and decides anyway,
yeah.
because that's what this Reaper is
for. Right? It's okay, the Reaper is going to be able to kill a lot of workers if he
Can he
decides
get
to
a
kill
cancel on that?
Yeah, he should.
Oh, he didn't attack it!
But he's on move command. He wants to pylon rush? Oh my god. He's just gonna float the factory into his main and he's gonna, okay, now he's forcing at least the Robo out.
Stats saw that, right?
What? Yeah, he obviously saw the factory. There's no way you don't see this big.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
build.
did he actually look?
Yeah, it's massive. It's too big to miss, Todd. Like,
You are looking, but do you see?
No. A factory on the minimap is pretty hard to miss. You know, like an SCV or a Reaper, you can miss that, but a factory is pretty fat.
I've seen players miss a hatchery on their base, so.
Did they though?
All right, well, that reactor is going down. Depot will follow, I'm guessing. And
I mean,
it's
that
great.
It's
Actually,
gonna be late. Look at the way middle
wow.
mine does. Look at the mine.
The Reaper baited.
Oh,
Jan
bro.
Brood.
Yeah, he can do this multiple times, and this is super annoying because you lose so much mining time. He doesn't want to settle for 1. He gets 4 and a
wow.
lot of lost mining time. That's big.
Observer being chrono boosted. What is TY getting out of his factory?
A Cyclone.
That's
Oh
actually
my
really
God.
smart. A Widowmine
Well,
would have been pretty bad, I think.
What about 3 adapts though? Do you think? Well, if the adapts
run
are busy
around,
shooting
right?
at the mine, okay. Well, the mine is already taken out.
And he's already going away.
Oh my God, Cyclones is so good, but it's 3 adapts. 1 Cyclone against 3 adapts.
Pull back out right after, yeah. Drive it like you stole it, and get out of there, TY.
Does he still have the SCV on the other side of the map? Yes, he does. He's going to repair this Cyclone. Now, there is a Liberator in production. Is that just at home, Todd? Yes.
Yeah, it is. Shouldn't take too long, though, to cross the map, and if Stats is still in massing mode. Actually, this Marine drop is not expected. Why are these Stalkers being warped in right now?
Yep, everything is out of position. A couple of Stalkers are decent, but there is not that much DPS in these 3 Stalkers, and without the Mothership Core, this is going to be rough. But unfortunately for TY, those Marines were bruised. If those Marines were not bruised, that would have been rough for Stats.
And Stats actually panicked like crazy. Pulled probes there for a second.
What did he just cancel? Reactor?
I think so, yeah. Just gonna fly that back.
Robo Bay.
Stats going where?
Should go Liberator range right now, Todd. It's the sickest thing in the world.
What is he thinking here with the Robo Bay? Does he just want to go Colossus or disrupt the drop?
I think Colossus. I think he...
I mean, he knows there's going to be a starport pretty quickly. So it's kind of strange. I would have expected a 12 cancel take maybe with like a quicker third, which on this map is still pretty hard. Like the third base position is very, very awkward compared to most maps.
You know, one of the most fun games of the open bracket qualifiers here at the Industrial Masters was, in my opinion, Petit Drogo against Ruyang on this map. I was incredibly impressed with how well Drogo was able to hang in there, for how long Drogo was able to defend against very strong drops. You know, I'm not talking about a single medevac or a double medevac drop, but it's like those triple medevac drops with liberation zone setting up as well, and liberator protection. That kind of stuff is really hard to deal with. While TY is starting to get ready to do some serious economic damage over here with his liberator, and at the same time being very annoying with the Widowmine. Gets the shot off on the Adept as well. Lost mining time. I think this is already going pretty good for TY, Todd. Is 3 Stalkers enough? 3 Stalkers enough?
Oh, he's targeting the probes actually. Just lowering the walker count of his opponents. TY on 43 SCVs against 41 probes, looking to try and do some more economic damage, and he started his third base slightly earlier than his opponent as well.
Those pickups are so fast, Todd. Like, they pick up before a shot of Photon overcharge hurts the Marines.
They pick up before a drop-off.
How?
And warping.
When I do that, I misclick 4 times and lose 3 Marines in the process. Like, Terran's really hard. I'll go back to Protoss.
These guys are superhumans, man. TY going to a lot of Liberators here on this map. You mentioned how good they can be, and on the other side we've got Colossus Tech from Stats, who has yet to really get any upgrades. Might be planning some big attack. Usually when you go for Colossus, it's very tempting to just go for an attack when you have a good amount of them, usually 3 or 4, overweighting for the opponent that could have enough Liberators and Vikings.
But I think on this map, the moment you decide to attack with Colossus, it's instant drops in your main, and there is nothing. The good observer placement there by Stats, so he knows about these medevacs. But the thing is, with players like TY, they're so incredibly good. Most of the time, they don't just suicide their medevacs. They'll look and they're like, oh, okay, I can.
You took a big risk here, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Huge double drop into Stalkers.
Yeah. It could have happened, but like I have a lot of faith, you know, like when you talk about the big 4 or the big, you know, the best 6, 7, 8 Terrans in the world, they don't just right-click their medevacs. They're always babysitting them. They're always looking, and they always get value, or they don't commit, and that's what makes them so incredibly good at this game.
Just gonna siege there like that, keeping the Liberator alive. Still posturing forward here with double medevac drop towards the main base. And second starport actually about to finish here for TY. So gonna be a lot of Liberators, maybe a lot of Vikings as well, knowing that it's Colossus Tech now.
If he gets a fusion core, Todd, this game is like as good as over. Without a Stargate, you're not going to be able to mine from your natural and from your main forever. Like, it's incredibly good. There's so much space. We can maybe take a look as well. It should be similar to the top. Like, there's kind of liberators. They can set up everywhere if they have liberator range, and they'll reach your mineral patches, and you need a Stargate to deal with it. It's very painful.
Viking production, actually 4 Vikings at the time, so TY is going to be more than ready for these Colossus.
That's also very good. Maybe you don't need liberator range. You can just show up with like 16 Vikings against 3 Colossus. That's also pretty good.
You know what we don't see anymore? Terrence pulling the boys.
I know.
It never ever happens. They're like, I would rather keep my economy and remake an army. I'm going to be able to trade anyway.
I recently watched...
Once upon a time, Terrence used to put it all on the line, Roddy. What happens?
Every now and then there is some crazy Terran who still does it. Recently I was watching one of the Terrans that I enjoy watching, Juggernaut Jason from Canada. He played a game against Protoss. He's like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to pull the boys. They all died against the Depths.
Maybe really, that's why.
Yeah, they didn't add much, but it was fun to see. But yeah, you're right. We don't see it very often. Double Forge being wiped in.
Yeah, so Stats actually willing to slow down here, already having the Colossus tech. Probably realizing that an attack was not likely to work against someone as good as Stats. Stats might be the one on the offensive here, though, in a second. I don't think he has the enough Vikings just yet to attack, but as soon as these next 4 that he's got coming come out, then he will. And it's actually going to get really dangerous for Stats here in a second, who's got Blink on the way, and now is going into Disruptor production.
Ghost enemy as well is going to make it hard. I mean, TY is gearing up for a terrifying army. The Prism even died there. I have no idea what it died to. I guess the missile turret and the last shot of the Viking. Look at that little guy in the missile turret. How is he not dizzy? How does he still shoot so sharp, Todd, when he keeps on spinning?
He's dedicated to his cause, man. He's like you. Passion overwhelming.
Mr. Bitter would have really appreciated this little segment about the missile turret guy. That's all that Bitter ever.
He always talks about it, doesn't he?
Yep. It's like Tasteless and Little Rich on Bridgehead.
Just like
New Gettysburg.
Oana means family and Hitman.
Since Liberator is still being annoying and TY is starting to move forward, trying to get himself in a very good position near this third base. Observer falls as well. The upgrades are not done yet, by the way, for Stats. Those are a lot of very important... That's an interesting liberation zone. I'm gonna siege. I'll free them, that entire planet. He's like, hey, beautiful planet you guys got over there. You need some freedom?
Oof, there is a lot here for both players. Whoever does a poor job at engaging might be in trouble, but a lot more capability, I would say, from Stats, thanks to these disruptors. Like, I can see this army dying really quick if those hit big time. Dark Shrine actually on the way here from our Protoss player.
Can you though, Todd, when it includes TY?
True.
It's kind of a risky forward blink. Mono 2 Stalkers might get picked off. Disruptor shot will whiff. And the Liberators start slowly but steady. They're moving forward. They are ready to spread some freedom. They are ready to liberate this Protoss army.
It's so hard to engage into this if you're Stats here. You're actually going to clean up one of these guys and then blink back. Nice job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good controls. Definitely very good controls so far. What is there happening on the fourth base? Is that like a little single drop or just
couple of units there? 2-2 on the way here for both players. It's about to actually complete the infantry weapons level 2 here for TY. Maybe that will encourage him to actually attack, but I mean, he can't go up this ramp, right, against disruptors. Everything will get blown up. So he's going to drop in the main.
That's a massive drop, and I'm not sure if any Photon Overcharge is available, so it's going to pull a lot of these units out of position. The Forges are the real jackpot here, I'd say. He's actually going to use the Liberators as well to keep some of these bio units safe. The Colossus taking a lot of damage of these Vikings, and don't forget about all the other units that are still left behind. Yeah, this is so hard to deal with. Well done by TY. Great execution by this Terran.
Stats could be in big trouble. He's trying to split his army between his main and natural base. Mothership Core died before he could even Photon Overcharge. And a massive army here of TY. He's going to barrel down towards this natural base while he's still fighting inside of the main, thanks to the Liberators escorting this bio that he dropped there.
The execution is just sick. The micro is just sick by TY. He's doing everything right. He's losing a single Marine against 2 disruptive shots. The Colossus all fell. I must say these Adepts are doing a great job though on the ground, and they will clean up the majority of this bio. I think there's War Prism in the back of the natural of TY as well.
He needs to kill a lot right then and now, because Stats, as much as he cleaned up back at home, he lost 11 probes.
Yeah, but Stats is actually doing a sick job. I have no idea how Stats did not die there. I really love the way how TY did everything. Great micro, great position. it's good news here for TY that it's a planetary fortress, because Stats is all over the place, and suddenly thought he has taken a 30 supply lead. That's amazing. I have no idea how he did it. 20 SCVs going down, a lot of SCVs going down. Is Stats going to be able to close out this game? No, right? He doesn't have enough to do that.
I mean, he has quite a bit, actually.
Oh, TY needs to kill that Prism. If he doesn't kill that Prism, that's going to keep on happening.
Stats keeps on warping in units there. It's going to be great for him. The planetary fortress actually attacking 2 of the Stalkers. Liberators gonna get sniped here, at least for one of them.
This Prism is still being left behind.
This is like the best Prism ever, like totally chilling there, ready to warp in units. 27 SEVs have died, and more keep on dying here.
I mean, he still has 44, so it's a decent number, but obviously you don't want to lose that many more. Why did TY not kill the Prism, Todd? Maybe he's flustered. Okay, there he is. He has a double drop here. Maybe he wanted him to warp in some depths. He's like, I can take care of it.
Careful what you wish for, because it's total 30 SCVs here that have died.
Army supply. That's gonna be. Oh, that's a sweet disruptor hit there, right on top of all those SCVs. 38 SCVs going down right now. No damage at all. Nothing happening on the other side of the map other than this one Liberator. That's not gonna kill that Stalker.
It's so crazy how on some of these super high level games, Liberators look like the worst unit ever. Like it literally never attacks, you just go around it.
Yeah. It's never that black and white. Is there any Vikings left? Now 4 Vikings in production. TY obviously having that goal, that helps quite a bit. And he still has plenty of SCVs on gas. So at least he's able to still produce an army. What a great game, Todd. I love it, man. This group is going to be amazing. We're going to get Neep against TY as well. We're going to get Stats against Harsem. It's going to be great. Woo! Net effects. It's really hard to call who's going to win this group. I believed in TY and I still believe in TY, but the way that Stats defended, there in his main, and oh my god, this is going to be so
TY is very low econ. I like the choice of going for a Templar Archive, because if he gets a bunch of Archons, this could be really good here for Stats. Making them with DTs is very expensive.
Can he clean this up though? Good focus fire on a couple of these disruptors.
These were the worst disruptor shots ever. Like, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, because they died, because good snipes by TY. He's going to blink forward there. I'm not sure if the Stats has enough anti-air here, Todd. A couple of Stalkers just died.
You re-warp seen a couple of Stalkers, but there's still so many Liberators here left over. TY making it happen right now in the main base of Stats.
What a sick game. At the same time, he's sending units towards that fort, and I really don't think that Stats left a whole lot of units behind. Demolition Core will get picked off. He's warping in more DTs. Maybe there is no more energy for scans. There is one more scan available. And I think Stats is also harassing in the main base of TY, if I've seen that correctly. This is a sick game, Todd.
That's not the same Prism as before, is it?
No, that Prism died. Oh!
And he survives. 2 Colossi in production here. And the Viking count, I think, has been reduced a little bit. What's the Viking count right now?
Like 7 or 8?
Ooh, 7 Vikings against soon to be 4 Colossi. This could be good for Stats, who's got a big supply lead here right now.
High Templars. I don't think he has Storm, is that correct?
Yeah, I think he's just for Archons. Like I said, in a low econ game where there is no Ghosts, these are like absolutely insane. I mean, as much as you maybe prefer to have Storm, Archons are still pretty darn good in this situation.
Yep. Especially when the army supplies go smaller and smaller. Like I love Archons when Terran doesn't have enough to just one-shot my Archons at once. This is still anybody's game. Storm is on the way though. +3 starting now for TY as well. Stats is still on 2-2, is that correct? 2-2 upgrades?
Yeah, both players.
Man, what a game, Todd. And then
actually starts +3.
It's gonna be. I mean, it's very important that Stats keeps track of this army of TY.
Guardian Shield used preemptively here, maybe to try and discourage TY from attacking into this.
Todd.
He's gonna do the same thing as he's been doing here. Siege up those Liberators, drop in the main, keep the Vikings there, ready to fight against the Colossi if need be.
Sees the Templar Archives and he's like, that looks kind of juicy, but at the same time doesn't want to overcommit. Stats gonna kill his own Cybernetics Core because he wants to save his Templar Archives.
Doesn't have that many Stalkers actually against quite a few Liberators. He might have to remake that.
Oh my god.
Storm gets denied here from TY, who's looking to try and win that big fight here inside of the main of Stats.
Morph into Archons right now, like these high damage. You can feedback and then morph into Archons perhaps.
Yeah, there's not much to feedback actually.
That was an interesting decision to kill your own Cybernetics Core.
And some units actually headed towards the 4th base here at the bottom of Stats.
Oh, DT Meat Grinder, that's amazing. Gets a couple of sweet hits off. In the end, the scan will clean up the majority of it, but that looked awesome. If only he got the surround, Todd.
It's almost as if he knew. He's like, he's probably going to attack there. Let me set up. Let me receive him as I should.
Okay, but the bad thing for Stats is that he lost a lot of his expensive tech buildings. Both robotics facilities went down.
He had to kill his own cybercore.
Now the robo base going down as well. Does he have enough stalkers this time?
Is he getting blinked for DTs?
Yep. Why not?
Well, I guess he could have blinked out here now that when that got scanned, but Stats is going to engage into this army. Liberators on siege. You can't live actually against this. There's so many stalkers. Very few units get picked up and evacuated. And Stats takes a huge supply lead.
Yeah, but at the same time, he has to rebuild all those super expensive buildings. He lost 2 robos, lost Templar Archives, lost a whole bunch of gateways, lost the Nexus, which doesn't matter that much because it's mined out anyway, but it's a little bit of Chronobus. So he's morphing 3 Archons now at once.
TY is playing musical command centers, flying them around, taking new bases with his previous ones.
Gotta love Blink on the Dark Templars. For everybody who's been away from StarCraft for a while, yes, Dark Templars can blink. If you research the upgrade takes quite a while, but it's a great upgrade. Wow, that's hurt actually so much if you're a Terran. You just drop 4 mules and then you have
Especially
to...
like TY is broke in comparison. He's got way less walkers. His income has been pretty bad. He needs to catch up in supply. That's not going to happen anytime soon. He needs to win a fight somehow against this army without ghosts.
Against the old Liberators thought, I really think that this game would have been super over. A couple of times I think those contains would have been too strong. Right now, it suddenly looks like Stats in a pretty sweet position as this TY has not been able to do the economic damage that he was looking for.
Stats has not been making too many War Prisms again here. Like when you attack like this, you always need to have one. So he uses those to harass earlier, but now if he had a War Prism right now, he might actually just be able to go for it and finish it right away. Might still be able to do it regardless.
Good feedback.
Oh, wow.
On one of those goals. Not too many goals remaining. That's going to make it really hard to deal with these Archons, like we mentioned before. The army supplies are not big. 10 seconds away from Storm, Todd.
How many Colossi are there right now?
3, I thought?
Yeah, don't you feel like he should win easily if he just A moves, but like we can see that as observers, whereas Stats, for him to realize he's taking a little bit longer because he doesn't see everything.
Without a prism, I think it's always hard. He's still kind of doing it. Those EMPs were good though, with a couple of massive storms going down. I like the way that TY fought this battle, but I'm not sure if he has enough, Todd. I think it's a numbers game, and I think the army of Stats is just a little too big with another storm raining down on this Terran army. A couple of adepts ravaging the last SCVs. What an amazing game by both players, but especially by Stats, by somehow not dying, surviving, and in the end winning. Wow, I'm very impressed.
Another crazy comeback by Stats in yet another PvT. Great job by him here. Woo. Yeah, you can be proud and exhausted after this one because that was a 6 series Stats. Wow, what a way to start this group.
Indeed. I mean, this was such a bizarre game, right? Because it started off with a Pylon Rush and a Proxy Factory, and then it turned into like a little bit more of a normal game. But we had the Cyclone, we had the drop, we had the next wave of drops, Force Colossus, and then once they both had 4 bases, at a certain point it really looked like TY was doing everything right. The way that he split his bio units, the way he had his Vikings in a good position, the way he was dropping in the main, set up those liberation zones. But Stats somehow never took a terrible fight. He survived. Blown away, Todd. Very, very impressed.
Fantastic performance by our Protoss player. Great play by TY as well. Looking forward to his next matches in this group. Before we can hear from a winner here, Stats, we're going to head to a break and then we'll be back with him on stage with Mix.